Hi everyone, this is Waylena from the William M. Staerkel Planetarium, Parkland College in Champaign, Illinois. And we are celebrating the Mars 2020 mission, the landing of the Perseverance rover. And one of the things I'm doing is sharing some of my fun behind the scenes stuff. And I'm going to be just demonstrating one of the ways that I use my favorite free and open source software, Blender, to import and check out some data from one of the Mars missions. So Blender is free, open source, and multi-platform. You go to blender.org, you click download Blender, and it brings you to where you can download the default or choose other versions. And if I'm on a Windows machine like I am right now, then I use the portable zip version. I unzip the folder and just run it out of the folder. That way I can have several different versions all going on the same machine at once and not have to worry about them interfering with one another. And we're going to need an add-on. It's a plugin. They call them add-ons for Blender. And the one we're going to use, and I'll have this address in the notes in the description, is the Blender-Hirise-DTM-Importer. DTM stands for Digital Terrain Model. And this particular one has been modified to run with more recent versions of Blender. And what you want is this this file right here, the dtmimporter.zip. And that's what you'll install in the Blender preferences. Okay, so where do we get our files? We get them from the HiRISE website, and I've already found the one that I want to use, and it's right here. I'll have this link also. The files that we're going to want are this file, and we'll want one of these, one of the red C files. C being lower resolution. The higher resolution going to take up huge amounts of memory. I mean, even at the lower resolutions, this particular activity does take some time to load. Very memory intensive. There's a quick start guide for it was written for the original importer for Blender for the older versions, but the instructions still work with this newer version. And when it says, hey, these files are big, heed those warnings. Heed those warnings for sure. Okay, so I'll make sure you have that link as well. But let's go ahead and move over to Blender. So I'll switch to it. Yay! Okay, now I'm not using the factory default settings. I've just gone ahead and left this with my startup preferences in place. I will go ahead and delete the default cube. I know, why do I leave it there when I can customize my preferences? I personally find it nice, warm and comforting to see that default cube whenever I open Blender. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just show you real quick up in Edit, Preferences. In fact, I'll move it nice and centered on my screen. And it's the add-ons part. You know, there's different sections here, but add-ons is where we're going to find what we need. We would click this button, install. We would find that file, the DTM importer.zip file, and then we would have to enable it. Now I'm just going to search DTM, and I see that I have it enabled already. And this one has a warning associated with it, meaning, well, if I click on it, it can show you the warning. It says, may consume a lot of memory. They're not kidding. They're really not kidding. I'm making this video in 2 parts because it's going to take probably a minute and a half to load the digital terrain model. So let me go over here to File, Import, and I see it's one of the options. Import HiRISE terrain model. And let me navigate to where I've already put the model. I've put it right here. Right up here where it says 10% as the default. Leave that as 10% or go lower. Don't put that all the way up to 100%. I've got a pretty decent machine, lots of RAM, pretty good, RTX graphics card, and if I put that to 100%, I can walk away, come back a half hour later, it's still not loaded. It's just gonna keep churning and not get anywhere. All right, so here we go. And this is the part where we wait. And we're back. It has loaded it, called it terrain. And now I don't see the grid background or anything because now's the part where it gets very interesting. Something that I'm going to do is I'm going to change the render engine to Eevee. I usually use Cycles because it lets me do the fisheye rendering, but Eevee is very quick and not as intensive for a renderer, and that doesn't mean anything to you. Don't worry about it. Just want to let you know that that's something that I do, and I'm going to go ahead and change the world background from gray to black. Okay, now I'm going to change my view to the viewport. No, I'm going to keep it. Yeah, I'll set it. I'll set it right there for now. I need to change the clipping. Let me hit the 7 key on my number pad. Okay, so this is just showing me a view from up on top. And I can see there it's fitting, but I'm not seeing the whole thing if I try to move around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to... My microphone fell on me. How exciting. So now I'm going to go to, there's a little arrow right here, or I could hit the N key and go to view. And right here where it shows the clip start and clip end, to save on memory, everything that gets rendered, whether it's the viewport or if you're rendering out an animation using the camera, clipping just restricts how far away something can be in the 3D space. And this file is huge, everything's big about it, and the distances are huge. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to give that a ridiculously high number. And now I can see it to where I can move it around. That's kind of nice. All right. I know it just looks like a boring slab of something, right? Well, we can change that. We can change that. Oh, I know. Let's go to the light. I've selected the light. And clicking on the light bulb in the properties, I'm going to change it to a sun lamp. And I'm going to reduce its strength. I'll bring it down to 5. There we go. And I'm not going to worry about the rest. But now, it doesn't matter where that sun lamp is, we'll be able to see wherever it is shining. So now if I look at the rendered view, that's what I get. Okay. I'm starting to see some of the detail on it. I know that the landing, the projected landing space is up in this part. Let's add the texture. That'll be very cool. Okay, so over in the shading tab, and my shading tab is set up different from the default for sure. But let me go ahead and do that same thing with the clipping in this view. There we go. Okay. And yeah, I'm not sure why I've got a strange looking viewport on here. Oh, there we go. I'm just not scrolled out far enough. Wonderful. All right. So I've got my terrain selected. And down here, this is where my shader nodes are going to be. I click New. And now we have a material. Now, as a matter of habit, I tend to add a texture coordinate input, and for this, it's going to be an image texture. There we go. And I'm just going to use the generated coordinates. I could use UV, but I'm going to use just use generated for this, and we'll connect the base color. And now I'm going to open the file with the color detail, and let me see. It might be, I don't remember which one it is. So we'll try one and then we'll try the other. I should have set that up better. All right, maybe not that one. Oh no, that worked out great. Okay. Yeah, look at that. If I zoom in on it, and if I slide this around a little bit, Oh, that is nice. That is very nice. All right, well, there we have it. If we want to, we could do some mixing with color in the nodes to give it a more Mars-like color. Or in this case, we could even we could cheat if we wanted, and we could change the lamp color. So we'll do that. We'll cheat. Oh, it's too yellow. That's a little too orange, maybe. Well, that'll work. Maybe a little too shiny. I can take the shininess down. There we go. All right. So let me take that view away. We have our very own slice of Mars terrain, actual Mars data. And so you could make your own Mars spacecraft to land on this piece of terrain. You could do all sorts of things with it, but I just wanted to share just how I bring it into Blender, and hope you had fun. See you under the stars.